name is Ariel Fan, founder, CEO of GreenWealth. Thank you so much for being here. We know how busy everyone is. And, Tuesday morning slot, we're really happy and grateful that you guys showed up to spend it with us. Hopefully, we'll provide a lot of value today in our lesson about communities in charge to make it worth it. I want to introduce some of the GreenWealth team members on the phone. So Jeff Chung, our Director of Sales, Joel Camacho, our COO, Joyce Kim, our Chief of Staff and Head of Incentives, Daniel Hong, our VP of Operations that oversees all project delivery, and Nicole Landers, our Director of Marketing and Communications. So thank you everyone for being here. I see in our attendees, we have a mix of OEM and distributor partners, a few city and universities, as well as just partners and clients from the owner-operator real estate side. So welcome. Great. So kicking off our presentation today, the topic is award strategies for EV grant funding communities in charge. So this is the first of several webinars that GreenWealth will be hosting specifically around the charging infrastructure funding in California. We are really in the tipping point for EVs in history. In no other time has there been so much funding. We're looking at this is a low ball, $20 billion from the Inflation Reduction Act proceedings for EV charging, over $10 billion allocated for California, additional $7.5 billion for the bipartisan infrastructure bill. And this is only the tip of the iceberg. And why we're starting this series is we want to educate our clients, commercial, industrial, multifamily, and public sector clients on positioning themselves well to access all the funding that will be rolling out in the upcoming years. A bit about GreenWealth. We bring light and intelligence in EV charging deployment. So why light and intelligence? This is a very confusing process. There's so many components to EV charging deployment, but our goal is to make it simple for you, our end user. How we do that is by providing a single one platform end-to-end solution that reduces the total cost of ownership. We do the construction, we do the design, and also strategic finance and grants and incentives. We also do operations and maintenance. Our team based in Pasadena, we are a team of professionals doing grant administration, project management, and then we also have in-house construction and engineering crews. And we work with all different types of customers, from public sector, fleet, commercial, and multifamily properties. Right now, we're current active pipeline. We're deploying over 2,500 charging stations around Southern California with over $100 million pipeline of commercial and municipal projects all over the region. And here's our team. We believe in delivering an equitable and affordable electric future for all. The word choice of delivery, we are a hands-on, we bring action to EV charging. We don't just talk about doing charging projects, but we bring all the funding information, all of the resources so projects actually get done. We're also at the root of our company, we believe in equity and affordability for all. As a truly diverse company, we're also proud to be the first woman and minority-owned charging company certified in the state of California. Not only is our team equitable and our culture is equitable, but we strive for an equitable approach with who we work with and how we deliver charging to the masses. A bit about myself, I'm founder CEO, Ariel, and I started the company in 2017 after receiving an award from SoCal Edison for getting the most incentives of any other business customer. That's when GreenWealth was born, to make public funding accessible to the end user. On the line, we also have Jeff Chung, our Director of Sales, who has visited hundreds of sites for EV charging deployment. We also have our Chief of Staff, Joyce Kim, who runs all of our grants and incentive applications for programs such as CalSTART's programs, Communities in Charge, CEC grants, SoCal Edison, LADWP, as well as a range of municipal agencies. We also have Joel Camacho joining to bring some guidance on strategy towards the end of this call. He is an expert in strategic finance and helps our customers really assess the total cost of ownership and develop optimized charging systems. And the information we're bringing today is really about communities in charge and the fact that the program is opening up in 9 days. We want to provide high value, information heavy, dense information for you guys so you can get prepared. And as a whole, this is in collaboration with CALSTART, with our colleagues over there, and we bring in the expertise of having worked across the territory of a lot of different grants and rebates. Quick overview for today. Jeff will kick us off with a Communities in Charge program overview. Joyce will then take us through the application process and what are the components of, as an end user, what you would need to bring to submit. And then Joel and I both, we will discuss the scoring criteria and specifically the award strategies. So outside of what you can find online or what you can download, what is really the strategy in which you can think about your properties, not just for today, but for future sites you plan to submit for this program. And now I will pass it to our Director of Sales, Jeff Chung.
Thanks, Ariel. Good morning, everyone. Thank you again for joining us, and I'm excited to kind of jump into the Community in Charge program. So let's do it. Next slide. Program overview. So there's 30 million funding available for this round, but for the program itself, there's about $250 million. So if your application does not get selected for this round, don't worry. There will be plenty of opportunities for us to go after the rebate program in the next few years. For the rebate incentive itself, there's an opportunity, depending on the site, $3,500 up to $10,500 per connector or per port. The station is only for public use in level 2. 50% of the funding is geared towards disadvantaged communities or low-income communities. They're also stackable with other rebate programs, and any expenses after December 23rd, 2022 are eligible for the rebate program. Next slide. In terms of the minimum requirements, there are a 4-port minimum for all sites. The maximum for multifamily or workplace is up to 40, and all the other sites are 20. The 2 certifications that you'll need for installers is EVITP, which is a training and certificate for electricians to install for, for EV equipment, and then C10 for the electrician license. So luckily for GreenWealth, we have both. Next slide. The key dates here that we want everyone to focus on is the application opening. So March 23rd, which is in 9 days, the application window will open, and there will be a 45-day for us to provide all the information for the communities in charge. The thing we want everyone to think about is in order for us to provide a competitive application, we'll need time for our team to build out the permitting, the drawings, the scope of work. So we're asking all our clients to provide a commitment by the first week of April in order to give our team to build out a competitive application for you. Next slide. Community connections. So these are the eligible sites. It's multifamily housing, workplace, healthcare facilities, universities, place of worship, nonprofit, government sites, tribal associations. All these are eligible sites, but when you look at the 2, and a lot of our clients are in these categories, the multifamily housing must be either disadvantaged or low income, or both. And for workplace, it's geared towards small businesses. So they consider that 100 employees or fewer. Next slide. And how do you know how do you know if your property is in a DAC or disadvantaged or low income communities? but we had technical difficulties. I think we're good. There are 2 links or population maps that are provided for disadvantaged communities. The SB 535 will show you if your property is in that population map, and for low income will be the CAR map. We can provide both those links to you after the presentations. Next slide. Incentives, the best part about the presentation. So the baseline for all sites is $3,500 per port. If it's a multi-unit dwelling, you get additional $3,500. If it's a tribal affiliation, you get additional $3,500. So for example, let's take a multi-unit dwelling. If it's a dual station, so there's 2 ports, you would get $14,000 or $7,000 per port with $14,000 for that total station. They're also stackable with other utility programs, but not an IOU or an investor-owned utilities like SoCal Edison. Next slide. And just for us to kind of recap, and things that are very important we want to really stress on is shovel-ready projects are going to have higher priorities in this community in charge rebate program, meaning sites that have permits, drawings, scope of work design, everything that we want to make the most competitive applications are going to get moved up, and they're going to get funded right away. The rebate only covers customer side costs, not anything with the utility infrastructure side. There is an option, which is pretty nice, that halfway or the midway point, we can request the rebate amount sent to us to offset some of the costs for the program. And one of the things that we've been talking with all our clients for the last few weeks and months is this point that once funding is approved, the project must get completed in 270 days or 9 months, or funding will be or won't be granted. And then new construction is not eligible for this program. Next slide.
Before we continue to the next slide, new construction is not eligible, but towards the end of this presentation, there is some gray area. So stick around and we'll let you guys know what those nuances are.
Great. And that's it. So I'm going to pass it on now to Joyce Kim. She runs our grants and incentive teams. Pass it on to you, Joyce.
Thank you, Jeff. Hi, my name is Joyce Kim, and I lead our grants and incentives team. So throughout this process of the application, you'll most likely be working with me, or if you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to reach out to me at any time. Next slide, please. So the Communities in Charge program refers to the online portal that they use as the Incentive Processing Center, or IPC. And we will assist in getting you registered to submit the application. And as Jeff mentioned, the launch date for this application window is on March 23rd and will be continuing for 45 days. The good news is that applications are not going to be reviewed on a first come, first served basis. So all applications submitted within this window will be reviewed and scored for readiness at the same time. Next slide, please. So in the meantime, we ask that you have the exact project scope ready, or we recommend that you think about the demand for charging stations at your site now and in the years to come to future-proof your installation. And like Jeff mentioned, there is a scoring rubric, and we want your sites to be getting the highest readiness score as possible to secure funding. So we recommend thinking about getting all your site plans together, locating either your electrical or construction drawings, and thinking about getting building permits secured or permit applications submitted. Next slide, please. And as you see a small glimpse of the information that is required for submittal, We would like you to understand that this application process is multi-step and will require some extensive paperwork or supporting documentation. And so GreenWealth will assist you in making sure that all these application milestones and requirements are met. And we will work with you to retrieve any necessary information or supporting documents with signatures in an organized manner and submit it correctly. And so next slide. And finally, in order to actually receive your complete incentive payment, there are some post-project completion requirements, and which GreenWealth will also assist in completing. Some of the requirements are to provide the usage data for about 2 years, and these chargers must be activated and commissioned for 2 years. And any reports or surveys required by the communities in charge staff or the California Energy Commission GreenWealth will be helping to follow up on those things. And yes, next slide. I believe I will now pass it back to our founder and CEO, Ariel Fan.
Thanks, Joyce. And Joel will also join. Hi, Joel. Hi. So Joyce, thank you so much. Jeff, thank you so much. To recap all that was said, Joyce and her team, they're world class. They never drop a ball on any singular piece of paperwork. The ability to get the award is not just, do you have a compelling application, but are you meeting all of the deadlines? And we have full confidence in Joyce's team. And Jeff, he's second to none about when it's down to the wire, being there for you, our clients, and doing whatever it takes late at night, early in the morning, in order to get your application across the finish line. So now we'll wrap up here on award strategies. So you know a little bit about the overview, how the application works. Now we're actually going to give our thoughts about how do you strategize and plan ahead to actually set up to win these awards. So here's the scoring rubric provided by communities in charge. Firstly, as you can see, it says maximum possible points, 18. In this section, actually, there's an optional for up to 2 more points. So it's potential for 20 points. Going item by item, is this site a community connection? So that was what Jeff had shared earlier, a community connection. There's a list of sites. It also is multifamily only if it's in a disadvantaged community, or workplace only if there are under 100 employees there or by the parent company. There's additional scoring priority for disadvantaged community, low income community, or tribal community here. And then this last section, local support. So this is more for if your site can be justified as having a larger social impact, as having a greater need to deliver charging to the masses, sites that would be a good candidate for this, universities. We know we have a couple on the line here. Who else? If there is a hybrid site with a workplace and a multifamily that you could serve different customer segments at one place. So in Max, there's 3 per application, and with GreenWealth and our network, if there is a desire to pursue this route and get a few extra points, we also have a network of CBOs and nonprofits that we're affiliated with to help facilitate these letters. Scoring by project readiness. So there are 3 tiers here. Tier 1 is the most ready, tier 2 and tier 3. Joel can chime in a little bit more about how this goes. But in short, tier 1, you'll need to have a building permit already issued. Tier 2, you need to have submitted for the permit, but not have gotten approval for the permit. And then tier 3, you don't even need to have a final site design yet, but you need to have something preliminary. Joel, you want to kind of jump in?
Yeah. So the heart of the program is to fund shovel-ready sites in locations that might not necessarily be that are underserved. So what they're focused on is do you have a permit? Are you ready to start construction right away? And these $30 million that they are funding the first year, they want to make sure that they are being allocated to those that will be starting construction and can finish construction in the 90 days that Jeff mentioned. The second tier is for those that have already thought about their electrical design system, their infrastructure upgrade. They want to do it. They've had conversations with companies like GreenWealth, but they just need to finish the process with the utility company, and that is tier 2. And on the second layer behind that is that even within tier 1 and tier 2, the priority is still going to go to those that have a community connection, i.e. there are healthcare in charge, university schools in charge, nonprofits in charge, multifamily housing in charge, and they are in these historically disadvantaged communities or low-income communities.
Great, thanks, Joel. And to recap a bit more, it's actually you have 270 days to construct from the time you get an approval letter. I believe next slide.
Sorry, 9 months, 270 days.
This is perfect. So for tier 1, you'll get if you qualify for tier 1, you basically have your permit, drawings all done, everything close to actually having broken ground. You're going to get a final award. That's just, they'll send you the contract. If you're tier 2 or tier 3 of a conditional award, so when you get that, you have 90 days to submit the copy of the building permit. So there is a strict deadline here, and they've been very clear with the whole communities in charge and larger CALSTART grant funding program that extensions will not be honored. So that's why we stress that even though there is an application window, it's our job to make sure to get our customers across the finish line. And so if we're on you for getting some of these items through, it's because we really want to set you up for the highest likelihood to get selected. Let me go back. So strategies for scoring high. So we highly recommend having the final site design and also the building permit issued. We understand that's not always realistic. So as a second option, a preliminary site plan or application for permit would be acceptable. And then recommended, if these are not an option, to have letters of support from community-based organizations. So this must involve GreenWealth by April 6th. So it's not a requirement, but it's highly, highly recommended. These different items, including the engineering documents submitting for permit, and also the dialogue back and forth to confirm the final scope, get the final charger specs, that takes a lot of time. And we don't want your application to get jammed at the last minute and not be able to submit. Oh, going back here. So the program itself is funded for 30 million for this round, but actually CEC has a conditional allocation to fund this program for up to 250 million in upcoming years. So today, 30 million for the entire state of California. It sounds like a lot of money, but it's not. It's highly competitive. In this first inaugural round, you have a lot of different sites. We know that some companies are just submitting like a machine. And so it's likely that for this round, we suspect mostly, if not all, tier 1 will be selected, and maybe some tier 2. If you end up in the tier 3 category, we welcome anyone to apply. We will help anyone, but it is just, we want to be clear based on our experience and familiarity with the program. It's likely you won't get selected this round, but still its own 30 million of a total up to 250 million in future years. It's good to get the process started now. It's unclear if the projects that are not selected will be added to a wait list. But regardless, you will be eligible for future rounds. So it's always worth it to try.
And now, can I just add one thing here? The communities in charges are serving 50% of the 30 million to go to DACs and LICs. So if you fall under a DAC or an LIC and you are, between a tier 3 and a tier 2, we recommend that you talk to us, because if we can get you to a tier 2, there's a higher likelihood that you will be funded. If you don't fall under a disadvantaged community or an LIC, if you are tier 3, most likely you won't be funded. If you're a tier 2 and there's something that we can do to help you get into tier 1, that will increase your chances of being funded.
Great. What you should know. So this is back to the strategy portion. So firstly, to qualify, new construction does not qualify. But if you have a permit and are about to construct, that's okay. If you have a site that is currently constructing and you submit, and by the time they accept the application and it has finished constructing, then it's no longer in construction. So this is all info that we gathered from our colleagues at CalSTART and through this program, through their webinar. It was a 3-hour webinar and we're condensing it for you now in a 30-minute format. But there is some gray area here. And I think the point is, if you guys have a project, run it by us. We'll let you know based on what we know. Is there any way that we could time it so that you could squeeze it and be eligible, or would it fall off the eligibility categories in general? There's also important to note, these deadlines are really strict. There won't be any extensions given for application submissions. And when they tell you there's a 90-day window, you have to get everything in the 90-day window. It's highly competitive, and this program is incentivized to cut out and remove people who are not serious, because there's just too much need for this funding to go around. Strategy. Beware of traps. Okay, back on the new construction active construction is not allowed. So they write that in the implementation manual. So on Communities in Charge website, there are a lot of great resources on there. There's like several hundred pages. You're welcome to go look, but there's conflicting info. In the implementation manual, they'll say no new construction, no active construction, but in the site verification form, they will have a section that says, are you currently constructing? And that's specifically to trick people who, they want you to fall into the trap of, yes, we're building, and then they want to disqualify you. So we know where these different kind of traps are. It's just to weed out who is serious and get people to be honest. And that's why we want to bring our experience in navigating these grants to you and help you fill out the right application. Next, DACs, disadvantaged communities. So you may be thinking already, oh, I qualify or I don't qualify, but we would strongly urge you to look at the DAC and LIC maps. You would be pretty surprised. These are maps that are generated from California Air Resources Board and Cal EPA, and it is regional. Some, you would think, disadvantaged communities actually are not part of the map, and other, I think, more moderate income places, even some high income places, surprisingly are on those maps. So the way that you guys can check is to go on these links. We'll provide this presentation later for you to check, but the maps are also available on the Communities in Charge website. And the last part, 45-day application window. So not exactly. That does not mean you can apply at the very last day. You want to not only submit an application, but submit a competitive one that you know has a good chance of getting the award. And for that, we need to have a scope already confirmed, ideally a drawing or preliminary site map done, and also a permit submitted. We will help regardless, but we want to have the right expectation to you guys we want to help you win. And for that, we need your commitment by the first week of April. So next steps, the website is going live on March 20th. That's when we can start registering our accounts, and GreenWealth can help you with all the paperwork and the registration process. The application, it starts to accept applicants starting March 23rd. And we need to get your commitment again by the first week of April. Don't wait until the last minute to get everything ready. Our team is here. We will get very busy also towards the final, the last stretch of the 45 days. We have a full plate of engineering and also application coordination. So please let us know right away if you're interested. And if you have a preliminary design, our goal is to get you at least to the tier 2 readiness. We're willing to sprint. We're willing to be all hands on deck to help you be successful. But we need your buy-in to get us involved sooner rather than later. And that's it. And so we'll open up to Q&A now. Let's stay in touch. This is on the QR code, you'll see our link tree, a lot of news about GreenWealth, our recent press and articles, as well as to book a 15-minute call with Jeff if you'd like to take next steps. And we can open up to Q&A.